Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Erase Indifference Challenge Gala, organized by the Auschwitz-Birkenau Foundation, which we have the honor of representing tonight. My name is Adam Javiera.
And I am Katarzyna Karpi, and together we'll be your hosts for tonight. This event is special for us because for the first time you will be able to meet almost the entire team of the Auschwitz-Birkenau Foundation on this stage.
It's a pleasure to have each and every one of you here tonight, whether you're joining us in Warsaw or from across the globe via our online broadcast.
The Auschwitz-Birkenau Foundation was established to fight indifference to manifestations of discrimination, especially racism, anti-Semitism, misogyny, as well as discrimination against migrants, refugees, and LGBTQIA+ people.
What started as an initiative at the Auschwitz-Birkenau Foundation, the Erase Indifference Challenge is now a global innovation engine created to find and fund modern, imaginative, and measurable initiatives from around the world that will lead to concrete actions and ultimately the rise of empathy, acceptance, and celebration of our differences.
From ambassadors to NGO representatives and all other attendees, your presence is greatly valued. Thank you for choosing to join us in this celebration of remarkable changemakers, each dedicated to fostering a more inclusive and safer world for all.
And a sincere thank you to our generous sponsors, BNP Paribas France and BNP Paribas Bank Poland, whose support has made this gala, but also the entire Erase Indifference Challenge possible. We are grateful for your trust and commitment. We would not be here without you. Thank you very much. We cannot clap.
Tonight, we come together to celebrate innovative approaches in addressing the problem of indifference. The gala is divided into three parts. First, joined by our esteemed experts, we will showcase the progress of winning projects of the last two editions of the Erase Indifference Challenge, to impress and inspire.
Yes, and afterwards we will go to the point of the evening that might be of most interest to some of you, which is the introduction of the three winners of this year's Erase Indifference Challenge.
Later on, Przemek Gdański, CEO and President of Management Board at BNP Paribas Bank Poland, will lead a discussion with our esteemed guests, Zuzanna Rudzińska-Bluszcz, Deputy Minister of Justice of Poland, Isabelle Giordano, Head of BNP Paribas Foundation Corporate Philanthropy, and Piotr Cywiński, President of the Auschwitz-Birkenau Foundation's Management Board and Director of the Auschwitz-Birkenau State Museum. This panel discussion will concern indifference as both a choice and a threat, highlighting positive examples of combating indifference to discrimination.
But before we get started, let's watch a short video about our program, created by the incredible Ola Schmida.
In our societies, we are all connected. If you think about it, there really is no social issue that doesn't personally concern us. And yet, there is still so much indifference. Remaining a bystander is all too common. So let's make a point. Indifference is a choice. Now let's make another point. There are so many bright ideas floating among people. We are here to catch them and turn them into action. With you, dear participants, and you, esteemed partners, together we are shaping impactful solutions to urgent problems. Because every action is an idea that has taken shape. That's how the need for integration has been translated into a game. How supporting women has been expressed as a gesture. Or how vigilance has been transformed into an online tool. As long as there is indifference, we are all faced with a choice. Thank you for choosing to act.
As you can see, the Erase Indifference Challenge is a gradually evolving initiative. We truly believe that our work is not only to support and scale those who combat indifference, but also to create a conversation around it and give our own 2 pennies to the overall impact in this area.
Now it's time to present the winners of our previous editions of the Erase Indifference Challenge. Let's watch a short video about Smile Mundo from Spain and their project Insignia, a gamified social experiment.
So it's like a perfect little laboratory, we would say, even to kind of understand what indifference might be, in what context it can suddenly appear, and what really it is in us that makes us react a certain way, no, in a certain situation.
We've tested our tool in a primary school, at the university, in some formal and informal learning groups.
This is the best part, this is the best part, this is the best part, this is the best part. Oh, oh, when you do in my heart. This is the best part, this is the best part, this is the best part, this is the best part.
We would like to invite to the stage the chairman of the Auschwitz-Birkenau Foundation's Council, member of the board of the Auschwitz-Birkenau Foundation, one of the founders of the Garden of the Righteous Foundation, and the honorary member of the supervisory board of BNP Paribas Bank Poland. Please welcome Joseph Wenzer.
Dziękuję. Dobry wieczór, dzień dobry. It's good to see you all here. And again, because we do this every year, what I would like to say is that most of you most likely know that I've been with this foundation from the very beginning. And was very much involved also with the actions, whatever the foundation decided to do. And I have to say that now, after the number of years, when I look at that, I'm extremely proud. Proud of what it has been achieved, what this foundation has done. So my congratulations to everybody who is in the foundation, and even more those who are not in the foundation but are working with the foundation. I would like to say that, regretfully, we see that the world is not very stable, and we have more and more problems, more and more discrimination. So it seems that what we thought we're going to do maybe quickly and have very visible results is going to take a little bit longer. But there is one company that we just saw a moment ago, which really has a project, Insignia, how to fight against discrimination. And what I would like to do is to ask Alexandra, are you there? Yes, can you see us?
Yes,
Can
yes,
you hear
I'm
us?
there. Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, can you
Great
hear
to
us?
see you all. Yes.
Okay, so hello, Alexandra. I have a question for you. What I would like to know is, since your project is very sort of a social nature project, so it's very important and it's difficult. I know exactly that the values, the human values, are going to be very, very important, and you're going to do everything possible to prevail that. But how do you do this project in terms of safety? Because the action that you have, the people that are working, how do you feel that they are safe enough to go ahead with this project?
I'm actually participants because we are fully aware that psychological safety is basic for any learning to happen. We cannot stress people and then ask them to learn from the experience. So there is this very interesting balance in designing this tool. And Insignia is actually our most experimental project yet. And we approached from the perspective that the game is 20%, but 80% is the whole educational process around it. So how we invite the players to the game, but the most important is how we later reveal the lessons from the game. And we believe that games hold this magic that you can actually get in touch with the difficult parts of yourself, like even playing Mortal Kombat or very violent games shows you that you can be violent in a game, you can kill people, but it doesn't mean like in any way that you might be able to do the same in a real life. So we also play with this dynamic of trying to connect people with the indifference and even with the fact that they can be that they can discriminate others, but it's a games and the learning has to be positive, has to be gaining awareness from what you have inside you and what can trigger you, but then you have to come out from Insignia richer and more aware of yourself. So that's actually the most important part of designing this tool, is how to actually build the whole process to have a deep learning, but then like a positive feeling of I know myself better, I know how to react. So that's what we're excited about.
Good, thank you very much. What can I say?
Thank
More
you.
power to you. Bravo.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joseph and Ola. And now let's watch a short video about Cyberwell from Israel and their project Demonetizing Online Anti-Semitism, Combating Advertiser Indifference to Jew Hatred with Brand Safety.
What we've decided to do is use classic open source intelligence methodologies in order to complete this project and create new research insights monitoring online anti-Semitism with an added verification of how advertisers are actually funding online hate content with the hopes of engaging these stakeholders to create industry-wide change. So far, Cyberwell has been able to conduct important market research looking at different tools and third-party service providers that look at how advertisers monetize online content in general.
Yes, thank you. And we would like to invite to the stage. Oh. Technical product owner in the education sector, for years involved in grassroots change to spread critical thinking skills, debate trainer, founder of the Axis of Debate Foundation, and one of the Erase Indifference Challenge mentors, Ida Rogalska.
From the ongoing war in Ukraine to the recent conflict in the Middle East, humanity has shown time and again that even in open armed conflict, war is always accompanied by hate and discrimination. While some platforms are taking steps to address this issue, Cyberwell's latest report highlights that much more work needs to be done. Today with us is Talor Cohen-Montemeyer from Cyberwell. Hello, Talor. Could you please explain how you successfully managed to make the hashtag Hitler was right blocked from the internet? Additionally, could you tell us what is your current focus within your ad tech project?
Sure. Thank you so much. Great to be here today. I will share actually about the AdTech project. First, we have our initial results, which is something that we had in time to share with you here with the gala. Of the sprint that Cyberwell has recently conducted looking at verified online anti-Semitic videos on YouTube, we found that over 20% of those videos are actually monetized by advertiser ads and also funds. What we hope to do with this initial research is to work with our partners in the advertising space to actually implement additional insights on how online anti-Semitism is funded by advertisers and erase the indifference of both the tech sector and also the advertiser sector to this issue of monetizing hate for profit. When it comes to other work that Cyberwell is doing for compliance against anti-Semitism in digital spaces, the use case of hashtag Hitler was right was a hashtag that we saw trend after the attacks of Hamas on Israel on October 7th, reaching a combined audience on Twitter alone of well over 25 million people in both English and Arabic. Through our digital policy compliance work with the platforms, we were able to block this hashtag on Twitter specifically, which basically means that users can no longer access content that's affiliated with this hashtag, therefore not able to radicalize themselves. And also content that's affiliated with this hashtag would be limited in its reach. So these are small steps that the tech platforms and social media platforms can take to actually limit the spread of hate speech during high times of conflict and increased racism and discrimination in the real world.
Thank you. That's very inspiring. Thank you for all the work you do.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ida and Talor. Now let's watch a short video about Right to Be and Trua, two organizations from the United States, and their project From Indifference to Action through Bystander Intervention.
Since our initial partnership, we've actually delivered over 25 trainings, training over 6,000 people in bystander intervention to address anti-Semitism. And over 95% of those individuals say they feel more equipped to intervene in harassment the next time they see it. So just last month, we were able to issue a training on bystander intervention to address anti-Semitism and Islamophobia that is actually co-facilitated by a Muslim and a Jewish trainer. That training too is getting amazing results and I think is a testament to the power of allyship.
We would like to invite to the stage innovative thinking expert, lead faculty at numerous MBA programs across the world, module director at Global Leaders Institute for Arts Innovation, module director at Global Competitiveness Leadership Program at Georgetown University, Washington, D.C., and in the Erase Indifference Challenge, one of our mentors. Let's welcome Bartek Stawski.
Thank you. Thank you. So first of all, before I ask my question to Emily, I just want to share some comments about this year's finalists that we are about to see, selected the 3 winners, because I had this unique opportunity to talk to all the 10 finalists and help them to prepare the final presentations. And I think that there's a lot of synergies there that we should all support. Also building on the experience that you've gathered from the 2 years ago, the winners 2 years ago, the last year's winners, you also already have a lot of experience and expertise that you can share. And I'm hoping that this is one of the goals of the foundation, to really develop this, like an ecosystem of all those organizations supporting each other for the good cause. And based on that, I want to ask you, Emily, this question is very, very straightforward. So how does it really work? I mean, this 5-day training that you do, can you give us some practical examples, some testimonials of the real people talking about how it impacted their life, what they've gone through while participating in your training.
Yes. So our trainings are really, they're an hour long, they're online. And I think what's very powerful about them is that it's something that all of us can do.
As long as we can hear it, yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can.
Great, wonderful. I think that what's incredibly powerful about what we're doing is it's something that all of us can ultimately do to stop hate and harassment. It's 5 simple things that we call them Right to Be's 5 Ds of bystander intervention, that are things that frankly people have been doing since the beginning of time to take care of one another. But when it comes to hate and harassment, we tend to freeze, we have a hard time acting. And so that's what we're here to do. We're here to get people past that so that they can come back to their best selves and show up and intervene in these moments. In addition to 95% of people saying that they were felt more empowered to stop harassment after the training, we also did another evaluation 6 months after that that showed that 67% of the people who witnessed harassment actually intervened. And that's an incredibly powerful outcome for a 1-hour training, right? Is that we actually got people out in community to intervene. We started this project well over a year and a half ago. And in that time, we've of course seen the very devastating effects of anti-Semitism and also Islamophobia all around the world. We've seen a spike in these types of incidences happening literally everywhere, and we've seen people scrambling for resources on how to address it. So I was very proud to be able to bring this to the community after October 7th, when we saw such a dramatic increase in anti-Semitism paired with, a demand for people wanting to know what they could do. And we were able to pop these trainings up and show people what they could do. And I think it meant a lot to people because at Right to Be, we address all forms of hate and harassment. We are not solely an organization dedicated to anti-Semitism or any one single form of hate. And people felt that allyship. They felt like we cared, and they told us that. And they were like, it's one thing for Jewish organizations to have our back in this moment, but it's a whole other thing for people who aren't Jewish identified to show up into this moment and exhibit care, not only for Jewish folks, but also for Muslim folks who are also struggling in this moment.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very, very, very much. And I totally agree. The potential for synergies is immense, and we'll definitely try to do our best to work with it. And now, let's see a short video about the Canadian Women's Foundation and their project, the Signal for Help Ramp Up Impact Project.
The Signal for Help is shifting culture on gender-based violence, using low barrier but meaningful opportunities to build knowledge and change behavior. We have built the foundational awareness. Now we are engaging people with influence, documentary filmmakers, film and TV writers, podcasters, social media creators, and employers. And we're providing them with the tools to create transformational change on gender-based violence. Soon, we'll facilitate a panel discussion at the Hot Docs Canadian International Documentary Film Festival with documentary storytellers and an issue expert on taking a trauma-informed approach to telling stories about gender-based violence.
And we would like to invite to the stage the founder and owner of Badania I Działania, social and marketing researcher, trainer, facilitator, evaluator, and in the Erase Indifference Challenge, one of our mentors. Let's welcome Magdalena Tędziagolska.
Good evening, everyone. Hello, Andrea. Andrea Gunray from Canadian Women's Foundation is together with us today. And Andrea, being indifferent to misogyny, being indifferent to violence against women is a global issue. And I personally find the strength of your project in its simplicity. It's a simple gesture that can be quickly learned, showed, recognized, and answered. Signal for Help gained recognition as mainly during the pandemic. Can you tell us more about how does it look today? I mean, how do you see its role today? Has anything changed? And if yes, what has changed?
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really happy to report that mass recognition of the Signal for Help still seems very strong. We did a fall 2023 national poll here in Canada. 44% of people in Canada say they recognize the Signal for Help, with stronger numbers, not surprisingly, for women, 46%, 2S LGBTQIA plus people, 59%, and 18 to 34-year-olds, 52%. And interestingly, 4% of people in Canada say they've now seen or used the Signal personally, actually face-to-face, one-on-one, perhaps on Zoom calls, perhaps in meetings. For me, that tells us that the Signal for Help still has staying power, and it'll continue to play a role as a tool, not only for those who are seeking help in situations of abuse, but just as importantly, as a tool to trigger those around them to become Signal for Help responders and offer their non-judgmental, confident, and competent support in these situations. I think the Signal for Help has really bolstered this idea that it's you and me who have a proactive responsibility to support any survivor of abuse in their lives, especially survivors of gender-based violence like domestic violence and sexual assault. These survivors that are most often women, girls, two-spirit, trans, and non-binary people the world over. And they've been subject to stigma and silence and blame for the abuse that is afflicted on them, especially when they're marginalized by factors like racism, ageism, ableism, and homophobia. The Signal for Help has the power to kickstart a global cultural perspective shift. I really believe in this, but perspectives don't change if we don't have real investment and long-lasting commitment to the process. And that's why I'm so thankful to all of you for understanding that in this Erase Indifference Challenge. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Andrea, for sharing about the impact of this very valuable project. Thank you.
Thank you, Magda and Andrea. Now let's watch a video about Growspace from Poland and their project LGBTQ+ friendly school ranking.
Our ranking is unique because it's created by young people for young people.
Thanks to our project, students can choose a high school which they know will be open, friendly and safe, which is very important for their mental health and well-being.
We are also planning international development of our project.
We would like to welcome to the stage Antoni Wołowski from the Auschwitz-Birkenau Foundation and the founder and CEO of Growspace, Dominik Kutz.
And Mateusz, actually.
Oh, so sorry, Mateusz.
Yeah, it's a last-minute change.
We love them.
Hi guys, thanks a lot for coming today. I've been watching your work from the very beginning. I remember the first edition of the ranking, and for me it is striking how well you're doing and how well you're combining the enthusiasm, I'd say the youthful enthusiasm, with the professionalism and the attention to details. I think there isn't any of us in this room today who hasn't seen the media coverage on this year's ranking. It was everywhere, basically. So my question to you is, I'm curious how the ranking is doing in also the smaller cities, in the towns. Is it important for you to be there? And can you share what's the situation there?
It's very important for us to expand for smaller cities and the countryside, as we are seeing that there are still places where the indifference is present and the fear is on the young people. Therefore, we have created a Discord server to combine the online activism with the activism of young people in the countryside and smaller cities, so that the persons are not the only ones standing for the LGBTQ+ rights in their own local community. We had almost 200 young people that were leading their own campaigns in the schools for the LGBTQ+ school ranking.
It's really impressive. And one more question mentioned in the video. Can you share a bit about your plans for the future? How are you going to develop your projects further?
First of all, we will be pushing the institutions towards the more inclusive areas, especially the superintendents in the different regions. But also, we will give the agency for the young people that I mentioned. It's time for the young people to lead the project actually in the different places. We'll be giving the agency for the young people first, because we see the institutional support. Therefore, we'll go east towards Podkarpacie, towards Lubelskie, towards Świętokrzyskie, towards Małopolskie, as there are still places where the inclusive education is lacking.
Thank you. Keep up the great work.
Yes. Thank you so much. We just saw a glimpse into the projects developed by the winners of the first and the second edition of the Erase Indifference Challenge. Please give one more round of applause to all these amazing people. Yes.
You can read more about their work and their projects on our website. Please do. It's really important that we all find our own ways of making this world a little less indifferent to those who need support.
Yes. And now the moment we've all been waiting for has finally come. It's time to meet the winners of the Erase Indifference Challenge 2024. We would like to invite to the stage one of the founders and Director General of the Auschwitz-Birkenau Foundation. Please give a warm welcome to Jacek Kastelaniec.
Hello, everyone. Here we are again for the third time. Erase Indifference Challenge Gala here at BNP Paribas headquarters in Warsaw. It's a great pleasure to come together once more to celebrate incredible people striving to make positive impact on the world. Looking back, it's amazing to see how far we've gone. In our first year, we received 23 projects. The following year, we had already 113 proposals, and this year, 223 proposals. It's truly astonishing to witness such a growth. But it's not just about numbers. It's about what these numbers represent. They symbolize belief of so many people around the world in our mission. They signify the collective recognition of importance of combating indifference in our society. Our 10 finalists this year come from far and wide. Brazil, United States, Israel, Uganda, and the United Kingdom. Their projects address pressing issues such as anti-immigration, LGBTQ+ discrimination, racism, Islamophobia, anti-Semitism, hate speech, and all types of discriminations in general. What strikes me the most is the diversity of voices and experiences represented among our finalists. From every corner of the globe, they have come together to share their stories, their struggles, and most of all, their innovative ideas to combat indifference. It has been an amazing indifference to listen to their stories, to learn about different forms of discrimination they face in their countries, and to witness their incredible commitment to change. So tonight, before I announce the winners of the Erase Indifference Challenge 2024, I will ask you once again to applaud all of those who are applied, 223 people. And I'm very honored to introduce this year's winners. There are all equal winners. There is no first, second, or third place. East African visual artists from Uganda with project Silent Voice, Justice to LGBTQI persons. AI for Good Foundation from the United States with project called What is Freedom? And Tech to Peace from Israel with project Israelis and Palestinians innovating together towards the new reality. Congratulations to all of you. We will see them in a second. I hope so. That's the plan, at least. Do we have a chance to connect with our winners? Yes? No, we do not have. Okay, let's wait 1 second. This is sometimes a big challenge to implement innovation solutions and new technologies, facing with connectivity problems that we are all experiencing. So I will maybe describe to you the winners, and let's hope that we will get back them on the line. Hi, Vincent. Congratulations. Okay. East African visual artists with their project Silent Voice, Justice for LGBTIQ persons, aims to combat discrimination against LGBTQ+ individuals through art and digital advocacy campaigns. Using online platforms, the movement raises awareness and provides digital safety training. Through imaginary and cartoons, they simplify anti-LGBTQ+ laws and rhetorics, empowering communities to speak against injustice. Vincent, I would like to ask you to tell us, I think that we are all excited that we will be able to support project from Uganda, and we heard that situation of LGBTQ+ people is very tough in Uganda. Tell us more about your project and what change you hope to achieve with it.
Thank you very much. I'm really excited to be here today. Indeed, you're right. The situation in Uganda is tough for individuals identifying as LGBTI persons. It has been 1 year since the homosexuality law was enacted. That means that it has been 1 year living in death sentence. It has been 1 year of people being evicted from their homes. It has been 1 year of children being denied access to education. It has been 1 year of people not accessing health services. So the situation is tough. With this project, what we aim to achieve is to empower the society to be able to stand up against these injustices. Because an empowered society and empowered people are able to challenge any indifference. But when people are not empowered, they cannot stand up against any injustice. So we put into consideration the literacy levels within our communities and the country at large. That's why I want to employ the use of art to interpret that homosexuality law. That means that even those who don't want to hear anything about LGBTI persons, they will be able to access the information. But also, this material will be free for anyone to access. That means that we'll be able to reach a wider audience. We've seen the political alignment of faith leaders and politicians, which is leading the enactment of these laws across Eastern Africa. So with this project, we further aim to empower LGBTI organizations and activists to be able to employ new technologies as they do their work. Because we've noticed there is an increase in online cyberbullying, blackmail, and unlawful arrest, where people are being connected to what they post online. So we believe strongly that by empowering communities to know how better to use the internet by not leaving digital footprint, it will enable them to continue doing the work they do to serve the communities better. But the most important thing is to give hope to our communities that it doesn't matter the laws that are being enacted. We are here to support each other as a community, and together we can achieve a better world. Because we've seen the rise of authoritarianism across Africa, these laws don't only target LGBTI persons, but we've noticed a trend that people tend to use laws to target those they deem weak. But again, when we keep quiet or when we go silent, these laws come against us. You never know when the law will reach you. So that's why we want to empower communities and build them to understand what these laws say and to be able to fight against indifference. It doesn't matter how small you are, but if we challenge these laws as they come in, then we can achieve a better world.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Vincent. I think that there is except for financial support that you will receive, there is a lot of opportunity to connect between organizations like GrowSpace that is already working with Erase Indifference Challenge, but also with a lot of people, and we can learn from you also how to be strong in a very, very difficult and extreme situation. Thank you very much, Vincent. Now we are moving to AI for Good Foundation with their project What is Freedom, that aims to build a toolkit to combat indifference through empathy and human stories, starting with pilot in Lithuania. The project leverages SVIDOC, Ukraine's largest archive of lived experiences, and involves a Vilnius-based team of Ukrainian refugees to collect and share personal stories, aiming to foster solidarity amid war fatigue and refugee crisis. Using advanced linguistic algorithms, the project adapts content to different segments of society, monitors responses, and disseminates the narrative across various media platforms to make a significant and efficient impact. I hope that, yes, James is with us. Hello, James.
Thank you.
And congratulations. We all, especially in Poland, we are aware how dangerous is this war fatigue, how dangerous is the current situation, and we are excited about your project and about this idea. We would like you to tell us more how it's going to work and how you're going to use AI in this project. So how do you want to create engagement with an audience in this difficult time of war fatigue?
So first of all, thank you so much for allowing us to be part of this year's Erase Indifference Challenge. And I don't just mean selecting us as finalists and as receivers of the award, but I think that it's an extremely important movement at this moment. And it's great that there are organizations like the Auschwitz Pledge Foundation that are taking a step forward in this direction, as I think we're all trying to, both in the room and on this Zoom call in our different ways. And the way that we have been really pushing the use of technology is to be able to make narratives that can have a difference, that can help people to act in a way that is more useful societally. We're trying to bring the technologies to them so that stories can have an impact. So the What is Freedom initiative is focused on reducing indifference towards Ukrainian refugees in Lithuania, as you mentioned, but it's a test bed for a much broader intervention. It's about understanding how attitudes towards others in society evolve, and also how they can be affected through narrative, through stories. You mentioned that Svidok, our project in Ukraine, it's the largest archive of people's lived experiences during the largest war in Europe in 80 years. And it's tens of thousands of stories collected by our teams on the ground, but verified and managed and understood and made available through our AI algorithms. So that means, as you can imagine, right, if we're the largest platform for collecting these stories, we are attacked constantly by bad actors, right? We're attacked constantly by state cyber attacks. We're attacked constantly with propaganda messaging, with denial of service attacks on our site, trying to inject narratives that aren't true, or use photographs and video that has been taken from other times, other places, or made up completely with AI. And our algorithms need to combat that. They not only need to find what the truth is among the lived experiences of people, but we are now looking at how we can use these algorithms to connect back with people. Across Europe, it's getting harder to be a Ukrainian refugee, right? And it's not getting easier for what is more than 11 million displaced people, both inside and outside the country, to return home. The narratives that are cropping up across Europe are often negative towards refugees, especially now. And so what our AI algorithms are doing is matching the best narratives that we have, collecting more narratives, especially from Lithuanian refugees, to maximize the impact of stories through campaigns. So measuring the impact so that we can constantly improve that approach, and leveraging the technology to put narratives into society in order to push people to care more and to erase that indifference. And hopefully, initially it's in the context of refugees in Lithuania, but ultimately what we want to build is a process of using narrative in society to shift attitudes. And that can hopefully address any indifference in society, not just this one.
Thank you so much, James. Congratulations, and we really have a lot of hope that your project will work and will impact what's happening. Now, Tech to Peace, with the project Israelis and Palestinians innovating together towards a new reality. Brings together diverse Palestinian and Israeli young adults through seminars and alumni programming, blending tech and entrepreneurial training with dialogue and conflict resolution. They overcome indifference by creating deep relationships of mutual care and understanding. inspiring participants to leverage the tech sector massive influence to work towards a better future for both sides. Today we are joined by Eliana, Development and Compliance Coordinator at Tech2Peace. Hi, Eliana.
Hi.
Congratulations, and I think that everyone here in this room and everyone who's watching us is asking themselves a question: how is it even possible today to run a project for both Palestinians and Israelis? Because as we know, this project is operating after October 7 events, and I think that everyone who understood what you're trying to do is really amazed and inspired, and we are really hoping that that's the path, like for after the conflict is resolved. So congratulations, and could you tell us what is the biggest challenge for you right now?
Sure. Thank you for your question, and it's really an honor to be here tonight. As I'm sure you're all aware, the situation here is more difficult than ever. The way that we manage to convince young Palestinians and Israelis to come together lies in our innovative approach. We don't expect them to come together because they trust each other, since trust isn't binary, it's a spectrum built by small steps over time. We get our participants to show up for their own self-interest. We invite them to learn new skills and explore new professional opportunities, but we invite them to do it together. When we bring them together to learn something new that benefits them, it's humanizing. It helps them realize that the other side is a lot like them. There are organizations that do dialogue, and there are those that do tech. But what makes this work for us is that we do them together. We don't make everyone check their identity at the door. Rather, we insist they bring who they are, their identities, their interests, their aspirations. And this is what allows them to really talk to each other and work together. It creates a place where they feel permission to say even really uncomfortable things. The proof that this works is that our alumni keep showing up. They continue engaging because they know they're allowed to say those uncomfortable things, and they value what they've built too much to abandon it. As for what our biggest challenge is right now, without a doubt, it's permits. It's difficult to do what we do, and we face challenges even getting Palestinians and Israelis into the room together. Today, the other challenge is also anti-normalization. While in the past we've dealt a lot with anti-normalization on the Palestinian side, since October 7th, we've been dealing with it on the Israeli side as well. But despite this, we're proud to say the Tech2Peace community remains engaged, committed, and resilient to our mission. Thank you.
Thank you, Eliana. There is a lot of hope, I think, with those 3 projects. I would like to congratulate all the winners of Erase Indifference Challenge 2024. It was amazing to have all of you with us, and we are grateful for your commitment and dedication to fight indifference to discrimination. Thanks to all of our winners.
Thank you, Jacek. Let's all keep our fingers crossed for the success of the implementation of the winning projects. Now it's time for the last part of the gala. We would like to invite you to the panel where our esteemed speakers will discuss the subject of indifference as both a choice and a threat, highlighting positive examples of combating indifference to discrimination. Help us welcome to the stage Zuzanna Rudzińska-Bluszcz, Deputy Minister of Justice of Poland.
Isabelle Giordano, Head of BNP Paribas Foundation and Corporate Philanthropy.
Piotr Cywiński, President of the Auschwitz-Birkenau Foundation's Management Board and Director of the Auschwitz-Birkenau State Museum.
And Przemek Gdański, a supporter and friend of the Erase Indifference Challenge, CEO and President of Management Board at BNP Paribas Bank Poland. Przemek, the stage is yours.
Thank you very much. The stage belongs to our esteemed guests. Thank you very much for accepting the invitation, and thank you all for participating in this very important event. I was looking for a quote about indifference today. There are very many on the internet, but the one I found, which made a strong impression on me, goes as follows. Because of indifference, one dies before one actually dies. If you think about it, this is very powerful. The quote comes from Elie Wiesel, who's the author of several quotes on the topic. And I believe that in today's world, indifference is a major threat. We see how tense the global situation is. We see a war just around the corner from our country. We see what's happening in the Gaza Strip. We see the emotions, we see the return of anti-Semitism in some of the countries. It's all very dangerous. And we all believe that indifference needs to be challenged, combated, ultimately eliminated. And let's talk about indifference among ourselves. Let me first ask all of you. We tend to treat indifference as neutral attitude. An indifferent person is someone who is simply going about their or his or her own business. There was an interesting phrase in the first movie stating that indifference is a choice. This shows that indifference is an action, not a lack thereof. What do you think about it? Do you agree with this representation of the phenomenon? Do you have any examples from your private or professional life to back it up? Whoever wants to start, please be welcome.
Of course. Good evening, everyone. It's a great honor to meet all the winners and to discuss this crucial topic for the modern societies. Well, unfortunately, indifference is present everywhere on the globe and is present also in our society. I think indifference, I fully agree, it's kind of a choice, maybe not always a conscious one, but we always have a choice to choose whether we are indifferent or not. And I have my personal definition of indifference, which is that indifference is when we do not see individuals with their rights, with their dignity, foremostly, but we see ideology. And I think in Poland, especially with our history, but also the very recent one, we know that ideology can be used against individuals. And, well, the society should not be indifferent. But as today we heard from Józef Wanzer, we are living in difficult times, and I fully agree with this opinion. And well, my role in my professional path was to add to building a resilient society. And for me, the resilient society is the one that is empowered to step up and not to be indifferent. And I think that everyone has a role to play and their own superpowers. So we don't have to go and protest for every cause. It's like in the Avengers or in the Tolkien's Fellowship of the Ring. We all have our role to play. So whether someone will engage for the senior neighbor or will engage in the community center around his or her apartment, or will stand up for women's rights or for migrants' rights, or will defend the democracy in one's country, or as the case may be, may fight for the globe to survive against the climate change. Choose your fight, but do not be indifferent. This is my opinion.
Thank you very much. Isabelle, Piotr, would you like to add to this?
Since you're asking for examples, maybe I can take some example from our daily life in the world of philanthropy. And I would like to say that I'm very impressed by everything which is expressed now on the screen and here, and what you've said. Of course, it's very impressive. It's the sign that even if we are living very, very difficult times with very, very new challenges, we also have bad news, but good news. The good news is those laureates, they are incredible, but also that there is a power, even in the private sector, even in philanthropy, and foundation can be a little part of the answer, a little part of the contribution. Examples, the power we can give to NGO. This is what we do, helping the Erase Indifference Challenge, helping what Janice is doing. Janice, another example, we help an NGO called WPDI. It's the Forrest Whitaker Peace and Development Foundation. It exists in the US, in South Africa, and recently in France. And it can help to learn how to have more empathy. It can be strange, in fact, to understand that maybe we have to learn how to be more empathic and to have maybe more interconnection and interrelationship. But we are living in a social media world, and maybe we have to make the promotion of goodness and empathy, even if it seems very strange. Let me just take a third example. We help also a different NGO, an NGO called Le Refuge, which means the shelter, and it is a way to help LGBT people victim of indifference and victim of discrimination. But there is also another way to help is to promote books and pens. I think it's a very good response, it's a very good answer to this word. When social media are promoting hate, a book can be an answer. I remember what Malala, remember the Nobel Prize saying, with a pen, I can change the world. With a book, we can change the world. So helping different books and writers and creators and artists, I'm sure we can help, and having good and very concrete response. And this is, of course, as I said, very, very new challenge for philanthropy and for foundations.
Many thanks.
I'm happy, I'm glad, I'm proud to be in a company that can do something very concrete to help fighting against discriminations.
Many thanks indeed. Piotr.
Yeah.
If it is a choice, the indifference, I think it can be considered as a choice. It's something that destroys the both part. The victims, that's very clear for everybody. We saw that during the Holocaust. We saw that so many times after the war. We see that today. But in a way, it destroys also the bystander who takes the decision to not be involved, to not feel concerned by something. At the beginning, it's emotional and intellectual isolationism, let's say, of this person. A lack of action, a lack of empathy, a lack of social link, but also a lack of your own self-expression. In effect, you lose your role. In a larger point of view, let's say you are disconnected of a problem. So if you choose to be disconnected, at the end you will pay the price of your own disconnection. Of course, you can't compare the victims who will be killed, for example, because at the end of the day, the indifference help to kill even. But you are destroying also yourself. I'm quite sure about it.
Thank you very much. Zuza, let me come back to you. You have the experience both in the NGO as well as in the public sector. How can we, in the long run, mobilize citizens against the discrimination and indifference? What to do at the time when there are politicians in different countries which, in a way, openly support discrimination? It's tough times, it's difficult times, as Joseph said, but we still need to act, right?
Of course. Well, there is an immunization against populism, because I understand that the latter part of the question was about populists that take over the narrative. And this immunization is, do not let anyone feel left behind. This is the first answer. And the second is, remember about everyone's dignity. And I perceive the role of the state as such, as seeing the minorities, as remembering the basic human rights of everyone. Well, the role of the state is also to support non-governmental organizations, to support initiatives like the ones we've seen today, but also to create a space for the civic society to grow. So, well, we have the civic freedoms, which are stated in our constitutions, but also in international agreements binding all our countries. And those stipulate what is necessary for the civil society to grow. So freedom of assembly, freedom of speech, access to public information. And this is the role of the modern state, to let the civil society grow. We've seen this for 8 years, for the last 8 years in Poland, how many loopholes of the system that were not covered by the states were handled by civic organizations, whether it was women's rights, migrants, LGBTQ, you name it. The civil organizations were there, and the state should protect them. But also, another thing is a word that is has a special meaning in Poland, the word solidarity. It wouldn't be for the transformation of 1989 if the workers didn't stand hand in hand with the intellectuals. I won't go into the story, but everyone in Poland knows it. So I think the modern times, very challenging one, require also 21st century solidarity. We need to stand for each other's causes. Otherwise, we will lose as a democratic society.
Thank you very much. I think many of us are full of hope that our state will help fight indifference, especially since October the 15th, for many years to come. Isabelle, we've talked quite a bit about dangers connected to indifference, but what are the benefits of not being indifferent?
Maybe the contrary of indifference is dialogue. So maybe we should have more dialogue, maybe we should have more coalitions between the public sector, the politician, the private sector, and of course the citizens. I believe really that it's time for creating this new cooperation. It's also time maybe to give power to some people who don't have a lot of power. I think maybe two kinds of people, youth, and you can see the creativity, the power to imagine another world, to create the future, to build the future. We have to give more power to the youth people, and also to another part of the population, to women. Everywhere you can see when women are working on peace agreements, it's working very much better than when it's men. So it's not a declaration of war, it's only an objective analysis of the situation. When you give more power to women, the society is much more peaceful. So this is some example. It's not a big solution, but I really believe in cooperation, give power to youth and women.
Thank you very much. I agree with
and
all
give power
that you've
to
just
artists
said.
too, as I said, because it's really, I'm sorry to add something, but you know, talking about indifference is trying to find what makes us indifferent. When you have no more humanity, you are indifferent. It's very well shown in The Zone of Interest, in this fantastic movie. But if you have to find what do we have in common, We have our humanity in common. We have our fraternity. You're talking about solidarity, of course, and fraternity is also so important. And how do you have more humanity? Thanks to music. This is the country of Chopin. So thanks to art, thanks to storytellers, thanks to movies. I often make the experience talking to young teenagers, asking, what do you think about men dancing? I hear generally a lot of homophobia. Oh, men who are dancing, etc., etc. And I show them the movie Billy Elliot. And you can see 2 hours after, they totally changed their opinion about men dancing. So you see, you can act. Everyone can act. Everybody, it's our responsibility of citizens, of employees, of leaders, of CEO. We can act, we can change the world.
Thank you very much. The last question goes to Piotr. Next year is an important year. We'll be celebrating the 80th anniversary of liberation of the concentration camp Auschwitz-Birkenau. For many survivors, indifference was one of the worst things they've experienced. It existed 8 years ago, it still exists today. What conditions do we need to create for indifference to disappear altogether?
Yes, Przemek, you're perfectly right. For the victims, for the survivors, the indifference was the worst. Because they knew what to expect from the Gestapo or the SS, but they were thinking that they can expect more from the approach, neighbors, I don't know. And it will be this 80th anniversary of the liberation. It will be a very important, I think, moment. Last round anniversary was observed live on the TV, in the internet, by hundreds of millions of people, but it is not the reason why it will be important. At the last round anniversary, we've got 40 or 50 chiefs of state, chief of government, but it's not that why it will be important. It will be probably the last round anniversary with a still relevant group of survivors. It will be the last moment that we'll be able to hear their voice at this very place, at this very date, at this very round anniversary. And it depends what do you need, what do you think about the remembrance or the memory. Be careful, because remembrance or memory is not the same as historical knowledge. Historical knowledge is like mathematics. You just have to memorize the dates and the kings and the battles. Remembrance is very approach as a notion to the experience. So this will be a moment that we would like to ask to ourselves the question if we are able to be an experienced population on our Earth.
Yeah, I very much hope that the anniversary will remind the whole world what can happen if indifference is tolerated and accepted, and to what kind of tragedy it can ultimately lead. Zuza, Isabelle, Piotr, many, many thanks for your wisdom, your remarks, your thoughts. Thank you.
And Przemek.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Very intense. But now the time has come to end our annual gala. We hope you found some inspiration tonight and feel at least a little bit more hope for the future. To all the people watching the broadcast online, thank you so much for spending this evening with us, relatively evening, probably noon or night. And please follow us on our social media and keep in touch. There's, as we know, as we heard, there's so much to do in the area of indifference. Goodbye.
As for everyone gathered here, first of all, thank